Simmons, and I am so excited today to be on the Feel Good podcast with Michelle LaRose. Today we are talking about the letter O, organize and implement. It is one of my favorite topics, and I'm going to give you tips and tricks on how to do that in each phase of your business. Strategize, scale, optimize, and sustain. And what's even better is that Michelle and I discovered a super fun fact that we had no idea about each other until today. So listen in and find out what it is. We'll see you guys in a minute.
Hello, everybody. I am so excited to welcome you back to the Feel Good Sales Podcast. Today, I am absolutely thrilled beyond belief because we found out we have something in common that we'll talk about later. I'm absolutely thrilled to have Alison Leigh Simmons with us. Alison, holy cow, she's a math and physics geek turned business manager and strategist. She's all about helping creative visionaries to get organized and to scale their businesses with ease. She's developed the 4 stages of a healthy, successful business, which offers clear and actionable steps, which I absolutely love, strategies, I should say, to help entrepreneurs know exactly what steps to take next. Alison's approach blends strategic thinking with accountability, making sure her clients don't just dream big, they take action. So today we'll be focusing on one of the O's, organize and implement from the Feel Good Sales process. All right. And we'll be diving into how you can bring order and clarity to your business. So I want to welcome Alison. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Did you have anything to add to that?
No, that was like an amazing intro. I will throw out there. So people are like, math and physics, like, you are a geek. And I'm like, listen, there's nothing sexy about math and physics until you start blending it with business. And then all of the sudden people are like, oh, your geeky way that you think about things actually is really helpful. And I'm like, that's right. Like, we make that connection and it's fantastic. So
right? To think of it as, because everything in life is interconnected, you know, you can connect pretty much anything, but to connect physics, that is, I want to hear a little bit about that, but let's talk just a tiny bit about what I alluded to in the beginning. Alison and I figured out we both live in RVs full time.
Yep.
All right.
2 years now.
Yes. Yeah, I've only been doing it since June, but I absolutely love it. Now, I actually don't travel. I haven't traveled yet, so that's one thing I need to add to it. But yes, so tell us a little bit about your RV adventure. Just yes.
Okay, so yeah, my husband ran his own business for 10 years while I was raising babies. I have 5 kids. And so for 15 years, I was a math teacher. And then after giving birth to my third, my husband and I decided I would stay home. We'd be a single income family. And I ended up having 2 more kids. So for 15 years, I raised 5 kids. It was still raising 3 of them. 2 of them are old enough to have flown the coop. But my husband worked extremely hard for 10 years to provide for our family by himself. And so we got to a point where he was just working 80 hours a week and he was killing himself. And when my youngest went into kindergarten, I was like, hey, I've been on the side running an online women's ministry and blogging and podcasting and learning influencer marketing on Instagram. And I've been doing all this stuff. What if I actually got a job and got paid to use all these skills I've been teaching myself for fun? So I got an online job doing these things for a coach. And my husband, about 3 weeks after I got this job, now we had talked about it, but he literally walked into my office and was like, hey, I'm selling the business, or I'm getting out of the business, and we're going to sell everything we own and travel across the country in an RV. What do you think? And now it's not like I had never heard that before. We hadn't had that conversation, but you've been praying for something for a really long time, but then it actually happens and you're like, whoa, I didn't think we were going to do it. Like, I thought we were going to do what everyone else does. We're going to dream about it.
Talk about it all the time. Yeah.
Well, as if my intro wasn't good enough, right? Like, I don't just want people to dream big. I want them to take action. That is literally what we did. And so that was May. And then November 17th of 2022, we pulled out of our driveway for the last time, hauling our 37-foot travel trailer. It was me, my husband, and our 3 kids. It's been 2 years. We've been on many adventures. Our most recent was a 16-day road trip, 6,000 miles through 8 states. And it was incredible. So yeah, we park during the school year because for that first year I homeschooled, and homeschooling, running a business, and adventuring was not sustainable. So we ended up parking that next summer. And then now we still travel and go on little trips or whatever, but like we're officially parked on my in-laws' property normally, and the kids go to school. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. That is absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, we have another thing in common. I homeschooled my 3 boys for 17 years.
Well, see, you're better than I am because I couldn't do it. I did it 1 year. Now, mind you, running a business and adventuring at the same time, but it wasn't.
That's a lot.
Babies had to go back to school. I love them; they're cute, but they gotta go.
Yeah, it was a lot, and I was in one central location, so I can't imagine going around places and having to homeschool them. I could have done it, but yeah, and it was something that we had talked about but never did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and so this was like the feel good sales process. I had talked about it, and finally, about 3 months ago, I finally did it. I was like, I've been talking about this for years. And it's just like you found out you had all that experience. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you finally decided to start your own business, you had years and years and years of experience. And so you were able to transition into it super quickly. Yeah. That's what I did with the Feel Good Sales process. It's like I've had all these years of experience. I was a marketer, I was in sales, and I combined all that and created the Feel Good Sales process. So yeah, I actually just wrote an article about it called Starting from Experience. You never start from scratch.
No, you never really do. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about so the Feel Good Sales process. Every letter stands for something in the marketing process. It's basically marketing is what it is. All right. So you have find and align. You've got engage and excite, establish and build. Every letter stands for something. And Alison wants to talk about the O. All right. Organize and implement. Organize and take action, y'all. All right. So what are some tips? What can you tell us about it?
Well, here's what I have discovered as I've been doing this now for 2 years with clients. People, like I said, organizing is not like, I get excited about organizing. I can color code anything. Like, give me a calendar so I can like make it match my to-do list, so I can make it match my digital, whatever, like all the things. Shockingly, there are people in this world that don't find that entertaining. Like a wonderful to-do list does not give them like dopamine hits. Right. And so I was like, that's odd to me, but so be it. So I discovered as I started working with that very first coach, she was an excellent coach. But when I got inside her business, I was like, oh my gosh, it is a hot mess in here. You don't know which end is up. And I've discovered that as I've worked with more and more clients, they are brilliant at what they teach. They are brilliant at what they do. That does not mean they know how to run a business well. And so many of us start our businesses because of passion. And then we forget that there's all these other nitty gritty behind the scenes, back of house operations that we need to have, systems that need to be in place so that we can keep growing and sustain what we've built. And so as I've worked with business owners, I came up with 4 phases that I have seen every healthy, successful business cycles through. Okay. They have to strategize, then they scale, then they optimize, and then they sustain so that they can then strategize, so they can scale when they optimize and they sustain, and we go and go, right?
Brilliant.
And and so many people, the strategy part, they enjoy because it's fun to dream, but they only do it halfway. They jump straight into the scaling. It may or may not work. And if it does work, great, but then they don't take the time to optimize or sustain. They want to go straight back to strategizing to scale again. And that's when things get really hairy, scary. And it doesn't matter when you're just getting started and you don't have a lot of clients, you don't have a lot of things going on. But when you start making six figures, that process becomes extremely messy. And that is when you find those people that you're like, I don't understand. They were making millions of dollars. What do you mean they shut their business down? Because they had built something that was completely unsustainable because they didn't follow the cycle. And so I like to come in and look at each of those stages and help business owners determine what stage are you actually in, and then let's get you organized inside that stage. So a couple of tips in each of those stages. If you're
Yes.
in the strategy stage, right, this is whether you're just getting started or you're excited about planning something new, whether that's a new marketing platform, whether that's a podcast, whether that's a new offer, we're planning something, right? Organizing is not just setting SMART goals. A lot of businesses are like, oh, I set the SMART goal. It's measurable. I've got oh, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
But then they don't actually turn that goal into bite-sized tasks and then set due dates on said tasks and then assign people to get those tasks done, right? They just set the goals and think they've done their job. And so one of the very first things I do after I help somebody set goals and prioritize what we're going to focus on is I make them super uncomfortable by literally planning out all the steps we're going to take to achieve the goal. And then I make them even more uncomfortable because I say, let's back this up. If we want to achieve this goal by the end of Q4, what has to happen when? And we start putting in due dates. And you can see, I mean, there are business owners that will get visibly upset. I had one woman straight up tell me, I don't do dates. And I was like, and this is why you will never accomplish any of your goals. And she and I didn't work together very long because I was like, I'm not going to nag you, right? So organizing step number one is don't just set the goal. Don't just turn it into a SMART goal. Plan every single step you need to take to achieve the goal and put dates on it.
This is helping me. I feel like I'm hot seat coaching right now. All right.
Yeah, that's okay. I have my own podcast and I feel the same way when I interview people.
Right? I'm like, yes, set your dates, Michelle, set your dates. Yeah, I'm developing my VIP membership. And I have it all worked out. Okay, I have every module that I want to do and everything lined up. And I was just telling myself yesterday and today, put dates.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
When am I recording? When am I creating that PDF workbook? When am I write it all down? So that's the organizational tip inside of the strategy phase. Then we go to the scaling stage, right? And so in the scaling stage, everybody just wants to start screaming about their offer from the rooftops. And I encourage that. Be the broken record. Tell the world about your amazing offer because everybody needs to hear about it 7 to 10 times before they even consider pulling the trigger, right? But the organizational piece here that so many business owners, and I will admit I have been guilty of this in the past, is that they're not doing proper market research prior to launching their offer, specifically to validate their offer, which, truth be told, you should be doing in your strategy phase, but more so finding out what the offer, the pain points that the offer actually solves in the ideal client or customer's words. To me, that's where having an audience market research call, it's not even necessarily, I've validated my offer. I know it's good, but now I want to know what Michelle thinks. What are the words that come out of her mouth when I ask her these questions? Or what are the biggest pains so that we can put that in our marketing? Because the effectiveness of scaling comes down to messaging. You could have the best offer in the world, but if you don't know how to describe it in a clear, simple fashion, confused people don't buy.
Yes, I agree. That's part of the F of find and align. Okay, you have to know what people are talking about. You have to know the phrases that people are using. All right. And the way you do that is you listen to your clients. Like you said, you do market research, you quiz them, you ask them, okay, what are you struggling with? Tell me about it. Talk to me. So you listen to your clients. And then also I have a tool called Keywords Everywhere, and you can find out like what Google search intent is, but you can also find out if anybody's actually Googling it. Is anybody actually caring? Right?
Right. And the
So,
thing of it is, the organizing part of it is actually getting all that information and then doing something with it. Again,
yes.
people will, even if they do the market research, then they're like, oh, I got all this information. Now what? So now, and I will talk about this later, but you can go into ChatGPT and you can put a transcript of your conversation in, and you can say, organize this information in terms of the biggest pain points or the biggest priorities that this person needs solved from greatest to least, or whatever.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
using that information and getting it organized so that you can then turn it into your messaging for your emails, for your ad copy, for your social media, all the things. So that's a tip for scaling. A tip for optimizing. So when people optimize, it's really just going back to the scaling phase and saying what worked and what didn't. And if it didn't work, either fix it or ditch it, right? You can totally ditch something, but it might just need to be fixed. So
Yes.
determining in the optimization phase what worked, double down, what didn't, fix it or ditch it. And it's more of an evaluation stage. And then we're making tweaks to things. You're not creating anything new here. You're just tweaking things here. Now, while you're tweaking things and you're determining what worked and what didn't, you will probably discover what you're missing. So then, after you've optimized what you have, you go into the sustain phase. And here's where we create everything we're missing, right? And so here's where we're creating standard operating procedures,
Okay.
which fit inside our systems. Most people, and I feel like optimize and sustain they kind of go hand in hand, right, at the same time. But a lot of people, business owners, they have a scattershot approach to systems. In that meaning, they have lots of SOPs. I have a standard operating procedure for promoting my podcast. I have a standard operating procedure for, creating my newsletter. But then those are not part of a system, like a content marketing system where the podcast is in it. Or if I'm a client onboarding, if I have a client journey system, my SOP for client onboarding is inside my bigger system. And so a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have these random SOPs all over the place, but they're not organized inside of systems. And so they still feel overwhelmed. Things are still falling through the cracks. And so within the optimize, sustain kind of overlapping stage, we start identifying what worked, what didn't work, and what's missing. And we fill in
Yes.
all the holes.
Yeah. And it's like, why are you doing this? It's like, why are you bringing your client through this journey? One thing I've found, and I'm sure you have too, is that anytime you hear about a new system or anytime you hear about doing something new, you think you have to implement it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's like, no, you've probably already dealt with this. You've probably created a video about it. You've probably already created a document about it.
Right.
That person's just taking the idea that you've already heard and just tweaking it just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, that's part of uh, going back over what you already have. Like you said, so many people have their standard operating procedures,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not using them.
Right.
And
Because
then
they're
they,
not within a system. Yeah.
yes, and then they create it
Something
again.
new,
And
right?
it's like,
Or it's not easily accessible for your team or
mhm,
your contractors. I've
yeah.
the last 6 months I've worked with several business owners that have team members, and just recently I was having a conversation with a business owner, and she said that her email marketing guy was waiting for an email that I had created this email and sent him the link 3 different times. But because as a business owner, she not only didn't have a system for properly organizing her content, she didn't require that anybody else did either. And so everything was just, well, I've got stuff on my Google Drive and you've got stuff in your Dropbox.
Mm,
Maybe we Slacked it. Maybe we emailed, right? And again, that is a client that I am no longer going to be working with, because I'm like, this doesn't work for me. And either we need to get you guys all on board with a system, or you and your team, good luck to you. I'm out.
yeah. There are so many tools now.
Yeah.
There's zero excuse.
No. There's
Okay.
none. Yeah,
None.
but it's
Spend
the business
like,
owners that like rebel against being organized, and I'm like, well, then you're
yeah,
going to plateau and stay there.
yeah. It's like there are certain things I well, I know a lot of business owners, like you said, they go into it because it's their passion. Okay.
Mhm.
And when they get into it, they're like mind blown at everything they have to do.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think about everything you have to do. You don't think about, you have to do the marketing. Okay.
Mhm.
You have to handle employees. You have to do payroll. You have to pay taxes.
You have to
You
do
have to,
tech. How much software do we have
yes,
as online business owners? Oh my gosh. It's like 90% of my expenses are software.
yes, yes. It's crazy. It is.
Yeah.
What all you have to do to be a business owner.
Mhm.
It's also exciting. It's fun. At least it is to me. And I know it is to you too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's really exciting to me is when I hear clients say stuff like, and again, it's funny because I just interviewed my clients on my podcast and I was like, hey, tell all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we joked about it. But one of the things that they said, and they openly said, like, you force fed us Trello. Trello is my choice. That is what I use. And I force fed it to them. Very much they did not want it. But now, retrospectively, that they're using it, they're like being organized. It doesn't just make us feel better. It makes us excited to work on our business because we're not stressed out about what did we miss? What did we forget? They're like, we know what we forgot, or better yet, we know what's coming up so we don't forget it. Right. And
Yeah.
so being organized isn't just about filling the gaps or filling the holes so you don't lose stuff. It's about helping you be excited about what's coming so that you can move forward quicker. It
Yes.
accelerated their progress. And then another client of mine, she was super cute. She was like, yeah, she's like, my business was fine before, but now we're building a machine. And like that's what systems will do, right? It turns an okay business into a money making machine. And that's fun. Like that makes organization fun.
Right. It does. I love that. I love, and the part about, having it all written down and having it in a system and having your to-do list planned out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't write it down, you're going to be thinking about it all
Yeah.
the time. You're going to be
Mm-hmm.
like, I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do that.
Yep.
And our brains, our beautiful little brains, don't know the difference between us thinking about it and us actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when it comes time to you actually doing something, you've already done it
Right. And you're like,
15,
why did
20 times.
is it not that whole, like, why did I walk into the room situation? Like, I'm in here. Why did I come in here? You sit down at your computer and you're like, I know I have a ton of work to do. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do right now. So there's
Yeah.
like analysis paralysis in terms of I have so much to do. I don't know what to prioritize. And then on the flip side, I have so much to do and I can't remember one thing, you know, equally paralyzing.
I did that this morning. I did. I sat down. I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. Where do I start? Where do I start? And I was like, start at the beginning. Okay.
Right.
All right. I
Well,
can
and
do
one of
that.
the things I started doing in Trello because I have
Whoops.
acorn bombs dropping on the roof of the RV scare me to death. I don't know if you heard that, but
I did.
oh
I did.
my
I
gosh,
thought it was
my heart,
something.
or under a tree. But
I
anyway,
thought it was something fell on your floor. Okay.
no, it was an acorn
Wow.
bomb.
Wow.
Now I've lost what I was going to say. What the heck was I going to say? Client. Oh,
We were
okay.
talking. Yeah.
So because I have multiple clients as well as my own business stuff that I'm planning and growing and my own VA and my own contractors, when on my Trello board, every client has their own Trello board. And then I will pull tasks off of their Trello board and put them individually on my Trello board
Yes.
where they have their own list. And then I can put those tasks in order of priority. And so that way, when I don't have to look at 5 different client boards, I look at just my board and then I can see, okay, this today, the priority for that client A is this task. And I'm not worried about anything else that's on their board. That's the one I'm getting done today. And when it's done, I go back to their board and I pull one more card and I put it on my board. And it just helps, being organized helps you minimize the amount of stuff that you're taking in every time you sit down at your computer. and so you got to get rid of the list that never ends, right? And you got to start organizing that better.
Yeah. And it's okay to grow. It's okay to add to that list. Yeah. But the way you move forward on something is to actually do it
and take it off the list.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the keystone of a very successful business is actually taking action, actually doing it.
Yeah.
Not just having it in your head all the time, or not just writing it down and not taking action. So brilliant. Thank you. I appreciate it. And did you want to add anything else? I think we thoroughly covered.
We did, and I can tell you the thing that, if you don't mind my sharing my upcoming workshop.
Please do. Yes.
I would say, speaking of tools that you can use to help you organize your business, if you are not currently using ChatGPT to help you organize your business, you are missing out, my friends. So everybody uses it for content creation. Whether they do that well or poorly is, beside the point, but everybody uses it for content creation. What very few people are using it for is to manage their business. And because not everyone can afford to bring me on their team and to help me run the business, right? So what I am actually doing on November 19th is I am hosting a workshop called Be Your Own Boss Better. And I am literally teaching a specific task inside ChatGPT for each phase of your business, one thing that ChatGPT can help you do that I, as a business manager, would help you do. And then there's a VIP upgrade where people can come to the 1 hour Q&A afterwards, where they get to just basically, I'll get all in their business, with them, and they can open up their ChatGPT. So the first hour is like webinar style, where I teach. The second VIP upgrade hour is workshop style, where they have ChatGPT open and we're sort of doing it together. And so that's in November. It's free. And then the VIP upgrade is going to be $49. But ChatGPT is such an amazing tool to help you manage and organize your business so that you can be your own boss better.
I 100% agree. Chatty and I talk every day. All right. And I use CT. Speaking of, I know you said you watched CT's episode.
Yeah.
She is brilliant. I actually use chat on my phone, and I talk to Chatty.
Yep.
All right. My memory's full, so I need to go through and delete some of our chats. But it is a great place to do a brain dump. All right. Just if you have an idea, if you have something you want to write about, whatever, just say it all into ChatGPT. All right, speak it, and then say, organize this for me. And like you were saying in the beginning, ask Chat to organize and prioritize what your client needs. Exactly. That is absolutely brilliant. Yes.
Yeah. Uploading discovery call or service inquiry transcripts, and then just being like, okay. And now, granted, I also use Fathom, every business owner in the world needs Fathom if you are talking to clients. And that organizes stuff for me as well, and gives me literally a list of actions that need to be taken by me and my clients, and questions they asked, and all of that. And so there's so many ways to use AI to help you organize your business better. And here's the deal. AI is not going anywhere. It is here to stay, and it is going to become more and more a part of what we do. So businesses that are resisting it, it's not that they're going to go under, but they're going to fall behind very quickly. And so you can jump on the train and you can learn how to use it well now, or you can learn how to use it when everyone else already knows how, and then you're trying to catch up.
I agree. It 2.0's your business. Okay. Oh, yeah. It makes your business better. Yeah. I can remember when ChatGPT first came out, I took every workshop I could. I went to everything I could to learn about ChatGPT. And I know there were some people who were afraid of it. And from the beginning, I knew, I'm like, use it as a tool. Okay. It's not going to take over your business. It's going to make your business better.
Yeah. It's going to enhance everything that you're doing. So perfect use
case.
I had to have a really hard conversation with a client that was driving me crazy. And I am a very direct person. I don't sugarcoat anything. And when I talk to people, because they can hear my tone of voice, that's okay. But when I send a message or an email, my tone can come across very aggressive. It's direct. It's not meant to be aggressive, but right. I literally went to ChatGPT and I gave ChatGPT the message I received from my client. I told ChatGPT why I was upset by it, and this is how I want to respond. Help me write a response that conveys my feelings on this topic, but does so in a way that is professional.
Yes.
ChatGPT gave me back an answer, copied it and posted it in Slack, and there you go. Right?
I love that you do that because I do it too.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Like, it's so true. And again, it's funny because I don't know if you saw, but it's been going around the whole put into ChatGPT based on all of our conversations. What do you know about me that I don't know about myself? But because Chat and I have all these discussions about my clients, and I'm like, help me write this, help me do it, gave me such an accurate response about who I really am. And I was like, dang, and to me, that's wonderful. And, it's not cheating to use ChatGPT. I'm not scared of it. It is something that is supporting me as I grow my business and as I grow personally, and, learn to interact with difficult clients.
I feel the same way. It has opened up so many avenues for me and so many ways of thinking about it. I look at it as like, I have my brain. Okay. And like, yes, we are source energy. All right. We are creators, but like you're tapping into so many brains with chat. Okay. Yeah. And like bring in different, bring in different opinions and everything. But with the paid version, I don't even know if you can get it on the free version. I've only ever used the paid version, but you can ask it to search the internet for you. So like yesterday, something huge happened in the internet world in that the Internet Archive got hacked. That's huge. I don't know if you've ever used the Internet Archive. It's the Wayback Machine. Google so Google Wayback Machine and then type in your websites. Okay, so if you've had your website for years, or a website that you know of that you've had for years, there should be copies of it on the Internet Archive, okay, on the Wayback Machine. I just love saying Wayback Machine because it sounds so cool. But I asked Chat, I was like, hey, give me what information you can about this. So it searched the internet and it gave me information because I wanted to be informed about it. And it's like, it's a search, but it's also like if you Googled that, you would just get a whole bunch of websites. Okay. Which Google does use AI now, but anyway, which I use, but it's terrible for people trying to do SEO, but that's a whole nother conversation.
We digress.
Right. I could talk about that forever. But so I thank you so much for being on the podcast. We like connected, like our first, we meet Wednesday together. I'm like, I want to know her. Like, I was this Alison. She's brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Well, and it's one of those things too, where I just find that, the management side of me and the strategy side of me, I can do them individually, but I just naturally always want to do them together. So if I give you strategy, my tendency is going to be like, hey, let's plan this out and I'll check up with you and I'll make sure you did it. Okay. Like, I can't help it. It just kind of goes hand in hand. Harkens back to my math teacher days where, I assigned things to my students and I was like, we're going to learn it.
I think you called yourself the boss's boss.
I'm the entrepreneur's boss.
The entrepreneur's boss. Yes. I was like, that's it.
Yeah. Well, because we all get to a point, and I myself have reached it, where I'm like, being your own boss sucks. Like, I want someone else to take some of this responsibility off my shoulders so I can get back to loving what I do. And so I've become my own ideal client in a way, which is good because it helped me really go back and be like, okay, why are my clients struggling with this, that, or the other? Oh, wait, it's the same reason I'm struggling. And, it's been a really great opportunity for me to grow as a business manager because I am experiencing the need for a business manager, but I'm turning to ChatGPT as my business manager, which is what I'm going to be teaching in my workshop.
Yeah. And I do the same thing. And I love that you said that. Go back and see what you're struggling with in your own business. You know, if you're a business coach or if you help businesses or anything, think about your own personal experience. You know, you're human. You've got these needs and wants. And that's how people are going to connect with you. So yeah, go back and look at like, oh, how am I struggling in my own business? You know, what am I doing or not doing that I could help someone with? Anyway, thank you so much, Alison. I appreciate it. And I always end with saying, if your sales process feels good, if you feel good about your sales, you're going to make more. All right. And when you make more sales, you make more money. So that's how I end it, because that's what we love, right? That's why we're in it. Passion and money. We want to get paid. So thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next podcast, y'all. Woohoo! There you go. Another episode of the Feel Good Sales Podcast. I certainly hope Alison's practical tips for organizing and implementing have sparked some new ideas for you to take action in your own business. Remember, getting organized isn't just about filling the gaps. It's about creating a structure that accelerates growth, which is good, and makes your sales process feel good. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps more entrepreneurs find the podcast and learn how to make their own sales process feel good. So for more tips and strategies, make sure you join my Feel Good Sales Process Facebook group. I go live, and I also offer masterclasses and community support to help you grow your business with confidence. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.